As a change professional, you've likely faced this challenge. How do you ensure your change initiatives truly stick? Whether you're leading from the top or engaging from the ground up, the wrong approach can lead to resistance, wasted time, and missed opportunities. This video is your guide to understanding the two extreme approaches, top-down and bottom-up, and how to blend their strengths into a strategy that works. By the end, you'll know better how to navigate change with clarity and confidence, turning organizational pain points into success stories. As a change professional, you often dive into a change that's already unfolding. The train is already moving. It's important to know the origin and destination of the change train. Ask yourself, what is the starting point of this change? Where did it originate? And how is it being driven? In this video, we'll uncover the two extremes of change direction and their defining characteristics, top-down and bottom-up change. By comprehending these dynamics, you will discover the keys to effectively navigating change. Stay with us for key takeaways. Let's explore how to recognize a top-down change. A top-down change begins at the top of an organization and is driven by its leaders. The trigger could be external circumstances in combination with a perceived or real internal resistance to change. This approach to top-down change emphasizes control, focuses on being end-state driven, relies on legitimate power, uses a power push strategy, and prioritizes communicating the idea. Let's dive into those characteristics. In a top-down approach, leaders exercise central authority to dictate the course of the change process, ensuring all actions align with their vision and stakeholders. This control often involves strict policies, procedures, and monitoring to enforce compliance at all organizational levels. While this provides clear direction and reduces ambiguity, it can stifle creativity and adaptability among employees. Top-down change is focused on achieving a predefined end state or desired outcome as determined by leadership. Leaders prioritize strategic goals over the incremental or adaptive processes that might naturally emerge from lower levels of the organization. This clarity can be advantageous for aligning resources and setting priorities, but risks overlooking unexpected opportunities or challenges that arise during implementation. Decisions in top-down change are made by individuals in formal positions of authority, often relying on hierarchical structures. Leaders use their legitimate power to issue directives, expecting adherence based on their roles rather than collaborative buy-in. While this approach can speed up decision-making, it often alienates employees who feel excluded from contributing to decisions that impact them. Change is driven by the concentrated authority and influence of leadership, often described as a power push or coercive strategy. Leaders actively enforce the change by leveraging resources, issuing mandates, and directly managing implementation steps. Although effective for rapid execution, this method can create resistance if employees feel coerced or undervalued in the process. In a top-down approach, leaders often tell, rather than engage, presenting the change as a fully formed plan ready for immediate execution. This communication style assumes that clarity and authority will automatically inspire compliance and alignment among employees. However, without open dialogue or feedback mechanisms, employees may feel disconnected from the rationale behind the change, leading to misunderstanding or disengagement. The top-down approach faces limitations, as it may fail to address real issues, often leads to resistance and poor motivation, and can negatively impact performance due to a lack of involvement. The core belief behind top-down change is that power, success, and effective transformation stem from centralized authority, expertise, and decision-making at the leadership level. This approach assumes that those in leadership positions possess the strategic vision, organizational insight, and legitimate authority needed to design and drive change effectively. In those situations, a leadership team may be composed solely of managers, without the inclusion of employees. Top-down change is rooted in the idea that clear direction, structured processes, and strong leadership control are essential for achieving organizational goals, especially when swift action or large-scale transformation is required. It prioritizes efficiency and alignment, assuming that employees will comply and execute directives as intended. In simple terms, top-down change is seen as linear, progressing directly from one stage to the next. It's time to uncover bottom-up change. Bottom-up change starts from the grassroots, focusing on participation, addressing problems, exercising indirect power, involving staff, and facilitating a learning process. Let's explore these characteristics. Bottom-up change relies on active participation from employees across all levels, fostering collaboration and inclusivity. Decision-making is shared between leadership and staff, creating a sense of ownership and accountability among participants. This participatory approach can inspire innovation and align the change process with real-world challenges faced by employees. Bottom-up approaches focus on addressing specific, observable problems within the organization, often identified by frontline employees. This ensures that the change is rooted in practical realities, making solutions more relevant and actionable. By tackling tangible issues, this approach builds trust and credibility among employees as they see their concerns being addressed. Rather than relying on hierarchical authority, bottom-up change leverages indirect power through influence, persuasion, and collaboration. Employees and teams are empowered to contribute ideas, make decisions, and implement solutions with guidance from leadership. This decentralized power structure fosters creativity and adaptability but requires strong facilitation and trust. Staff involvement is central to bottom-up change, with leaders actively seeking input, feedback, and suggestions from employees. This approach values the knowledge and expertise of those closest to the issues, ensuring solutions are practical and effective. By involving staff in shaping the change, organizations can reduce resistance and build a culture of engagement. Let's shed some light on the learning process. Bottom-up change is iterative, evolving through cycles of planning, action, and reflection, often referred to as learning in action. This process allows for real-time adjustments based on feedback and results, making the change more adaptive to dynamic environments. It emphasizes experimentation and learning from successes and failures, fostering continuous improvement. The bottom-up approach, while empowering, has its limitations. It's slow to implement throughout the organization, and it may not have the urgency required for critical business needs. The core belief behind bottom-up change is that power, success, and meaningful transformation originate from those closest to the actual work and challenges within the organization. This approach values the insights, expertise, and creativity of employees at all levels, particularly those on the front lines, as they are best positioned to identify real problems and propose practical solutions. Bottom-up change assumes that by empowering individuals, fostering collaboration, and involving staff in decision-making, the organization can achieve more adaptive, innovative, and sustainable outcomes compared to a top-down approach alone. Now, let's shift gears and let's compare the two approaches. Top-down provides structure, clarity, and focus, but risks rigidity, resistance, and lack of innovation. It is structured, but potentially rigid and disconnected. Bottom-up encourages engagement, innovation, and adaptability, but can be slower and harder to scale across the organization. It is inclusive, but sometimes slow and inefficient. Let's break down the comparison in this overview. Pause the video now if you need to read the full comparison. As a professional in change management, think about this. Where does the change come from? Is it a well-planned change strategy, or is it based on impulse and opinion without a proper diagnosis? A top-down or bottom-up change can both be a good approach, given the fact that the situation calls for it. For example, in a crisis, the top-down approach could be a well-considered and substantiated approach. but too often the change direction is not thoughtful. So think about your change program and choose a balanced situational hybrid approach which combines the focus of top-down change with the engagement and adaptability of bottom-up approaches, creating sustainable and impactful organizational transformation. Make your own blend. In this video, we discovered an item of the change topic, thinking about organizational change. It's part of the change Lemniscate. See the link for more about the change Lemniscate.
Jonathan, thanks for considering how we can be aware of the direction of change. It is key to know this as a professional joining a change program. I suggest viewers to explore in the Change Lemniscate the Shape Change strategy. It helps to create a thoughtful change approach, the best possible tone of change.
Bert, you're right. It's not just about picking top-down or bottom-up. It's about knowing and choosing the best way to change.